Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Creating the Crafty Lives Creative Weekly Wisdom. It's always a tongue twister for me. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I created this packaging for a ATC swap that I was in and hosted. So I'm going to show you guys how I created this personalized topper. I wanted to do something a little bit special for each of the members of the of the group that I was in for the ATC swap. And I figured what better way than to put their names above. Now this idea was one that I saw. It's kind of a play, and if I can remember where I saw it, I will definitely try and send you guys there. But it was a washi card, and what she did, it was actually just a card of acetate, and she didn't cut the acetate out, but she had stuck the names on the top, but it was see-through, and then the washi was wrapped around, so it looked like it was cut out. But anyway, so this is kind of a play on that, and it's just a topper. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I created this on my silhouette. I'm sure there are other ways that you can create this using your dies, but I'm going to show you specifically on the silhouette because that's how I used, or that's what I used to create this. So we're going to go ahead and pause. We're going to head on over to the computer, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to create a size guide. So the bags that I'm using are roughly 3 by 3 7/8. So we're just going to create a little rectangle that's going to be 3 by 4. What you can do is you can just use your grid and do a rough estimate of the 3 by 4, which is just going to be like that. Or if you want to be a little bit more specific, you can just create a rectangle. You can take the cursor, select the image, and then up here you can modify the width to 3 and the height by 4. So if you want exact numbers, either one is okay, but you guys can see they're roughly the same size, and it doesn't matter to me. Now to see a little bit better, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my grid lines off. I usually work with my grid lines on because it just helps me just make sure sizing is right. But so you guys can see what I'm doing, we're going to go ahead and take those grid lines off. The next thing that I want to do is I need to select the writing, the little typing icon right there, and then we're going to go over here and we're going to open up this drop down menu as well, the text style. Now there are a lot of preloaded texts that fonts that you can use, and you just kind of go through and you pick a font that would work best. Now the one I used was Franklin Gothic medium to get the look that I was looking for, but there are other ones. You just want to make sure that when the bottom gets welded that it's not going to look like something else. So when you're typing in all caps, that none of the letters actually drop down, like your Q's, your Y's, that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that everything is pretty blocky. You want a more blocky font, I guess is what I can say. So the Franklin Gothic medium is what I used, and I just kind of played around with sizes for as tall as I wanted it. The reason I created the size of the bag is so I could, in comparison to what I was doing, I could look to see kind of how my topper was going to look in comparison. So 72 is good. We can actually adjust it later because we can drop and drag, but I'm just going to put it up on there, and then make sure you have your cap locks on because you want it to be in all capital letters. And let's go ahead and do the one for me, but we're just going to do stuff. Okay, so as you can see, I've typed it out. Now I like the positioning on that. So what I'm going to do is, instead of being on the typing, I'm going to go back to my cursor, click off the image, and I'm going to bring it down here just to make sure that it lines up. And I think that that's pretty good placement. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to my drawing tool, and again, this is where your grid would definitely be helpful, but I'm going to create another rectangle, and I'm going to create it, but this one I want, make sure you select the image. This one I want at 3, so I'm going to just make sure. And you can go a little bit bigger, because if your topper is over your bag, that's okay as well, but I want mine to be right on that 3, just personal preference. So I'm going to go 3. And the top of the bag, I'm actually happy with this, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and round it out because it's 0.961. I'm just going to do an even 1 inch, just because my brain just works a little bit better. So now I'm going to take the letters, my name, and I'm going to bring it over to the other rectangle that I created, and I'm going to then, I want to center it. So I want to center the two together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go to the alignment tab. Now up at the top you have those 3 bars, so you're going to drop it down, and I'm going to align it center so you can see it move just a little bit. Now I want to make sure, I'm going to zoom into this part of it, and it's going to get really big. I want to make sure that the lines are overlapped. So I'm going to select the word, and you can see that there's already a little bit of overlap of the line, but I want to bring it down just a little bit more so I make sure that there's good contact on each of the letters, and see how you can clearly tell that this is still going to be an S, a T, E, P, H. Some of the letters, if you use a scripty font, it's going to go down below and it's going to obscure what the letter actually is. So once I have that done, I'm going to take and I'm going to select both images, and I just click and I just create this, and I just drag over top of both of the images that I've created. Once that's done, there's a few ways that you can do this, but I'm actually just going to be simple, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to click weld, and now it's welded together. So now you see I have this kind of place card looking shape. Okay, and we'll just bring it over here and I'll show you guys. It's just like that. Now if I want to make this a little bit smaller, I simply can do that. And actually, I'm going to undo that. I'm actually seeing that I probably should have, I'm going to go back. I'm just clicking back. We'll just go back. Actually, this should be a little bit smaller. I think the 1 inch is a little bit too long. It might cover up some. So I'm going to do, I think, on the original ones I did, I believe, now I'm like, I think I did a 1/2 inch. So we're going to come over here and we're going to do 0.5. Okay, still works the same. I'm going to bring it in a little bit closer. We're going to go ahead, select the 2 images together, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to go ahead and realign them. Now this is too much overlap for my taste, so I'm going to come back in and I'm going to select just one of the images, and using my cursor, my arrows on my keyboard, I'm just going to click, just select the up button or the up arrow a few times, and that's how I generally move my shapes. Now I'm going to come back, I'm going to go ahead and select both of them, and I'm going to go ahead and once again right click and weld. And let's just go ahead and zoom back out one more time. Okay, and that placement has me a lot happier. Now we have to create the mirrored image, so I'm going to go ahead, select my image, I'm going to come over to this side, and I want to select this little star shape panel. It's the replicate panel. Okay, you can also find it up at the top, but I think it looks like a little wonky star or something. So I'm going to go ahead and click the replicate panel, make sure my image is selected, and then I'm going to come over to the mirror. Okay, and you can mirror it. Now what I want to do is I want to mirror it on the top, I'm going to click mirror on the top, and you see how it's created, so there's almost a fold line. Now, if I go through and I just cut this like this, it's going to cut two separate pieces. Some people like that, some people don't, but I wanted to make sure it was one piece. So again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in, okay, and really big so you guys can see, just kind of adjust that. I'm going to make sure, see how there's that gap right there? I'm going to make sure that I have one of my images selected, and I'm just going to, again, use my down arrow to overlap. Okay, I know the S has a little bit more overlap than the other letters, but again, I'm okay with that. It's not the end of the world to me that it's not perfectly round. So once I have that nice overlap right there, we can't leave it just like this, because if we go and we cut it like this, what's going to happen is it's going to cut these pieces out. So it's actually going to end up being in several small pieces. So we'll zoom out just a little bit. Oops, that was in. We'll go ahead and zoom back out. And then I'm going to select both images. Again, I'm going to right click, and once again, I'm going to weld those pieces together. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom back out, because I'm going to position this. I'm going to move this out of the way because I don't want to cut this. I'm going to go ahead and position this on my mat where I would like it to cut. We're going to go ahead and select send. Now we need to pick our cardstock. Now depending on the type of cardstock, it's going to change a little bit. I'm just going to select on this one. It's just going to be plain cardstock. We're going to go ahead and click send, and it's going to say send as mirror because we did mirror an image. And we're going to just click send as is. Okay. And I want to, it is clicking. Oops. And I don't actually have my mat loaded, so I don't want to do that just yet. But I'll go ahead and I'm going to stop this video. We're going to go ahead and load, and then we'll go ahead and get going. Okay guys, so this is the cut that came out, and I'm using the Tim Holtz Gold foil paper, and so it should hopefully, if it cut to the depth, it's just going to come out nice and easy. I have an older mat, and so sometimes when I stick the paper down, it doesn't, sorry about that, you guys. Apparently my phone has been going crazy. Sometimes it doesn't adhere, so it doesn't always make the cleanest. It doesn't cut all. I should have used a new mat for this, but anyway, the pieces come out great. Okay, all right, let's move that out of the way. Now we're not quite done with this yet. There's a few things that we need to do. You could just kind of match it up and bend it in half. Totally up to you. I want to make sure that it is definitely scored, and that's just my personal preference. So what I do is I kind of line it up. It's not like if I line it up here, there's not going to be a score in the middle. So what I do is I just pick a score line and I just kind of line up what I think the middle of these is going to be, and then I just gently score. I hope you guys can kind of see that. I just gently score in the center, just so it kind of starts the bend for me. And I just score each of the little pieces. Okay, just like that. So I'm just starting it. You can see on this side where the scores started. So we'll move that out of the way. And once that happens, the bends are already kind of starting. The E gave me a little bit of fits in the T. And I just gently Alright, now just to make it a little more crisp, I just take my bone folder, and this happens to be a Teflon one, and I just kind of gave it an extra good press. Okay. The other few things that I did was I took a little strip of designer paper and I just cut it a little bit smaller on the border, as you guys can see right here. And then I added a couple of the leaf dies from the CC Designs Leafy Branch. I don't think this is available anymore, but what I did was I just, I actually took white cardstock and used the Distress Oxide ink in Cracked Pistachio, and I just kind of smeared it over the paper, and then I cut out of that to create that color. Now to attach, what I did was I just grabbed my, let me just make sure, yep, my 1/2 inch. So I just took my 1/2 inch tape and I added adhesive here. And here. There we go. And you can use any adhesive that you want. I didn't worry about gluing down the letters on these, so once it's all done, you can just attach it to the top of your bag. And once you have slid your project in, don't want to do the full reveal on this, you can just put it in, you simply pull it and seal it and it's in. I just don't want to show you guys the actual ATC because it's for a swap and I want that to be a little bit of a surprise, but this is the packaging that I created. So that is how I created this personalized bag topper. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me any questions you might have, and I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy.